duties. We kind of have to. I just along the lines of other functions as assigned or whatever. I mean, because it's going to be hard to stay within that.
All of them got that last catcher on the end of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it wasn't on there.
So, with that change, can I get a motion that we approve the job description for solid waste laborer?
So moved.
Have a motion by Commissioner Carter. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Sayer. Any more discussion? Public comment? Not all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion carried unanimously. You take this one.
All of these budgets has got a COLA in them for the employees, and all the 5% insurance increase we had in the premium too. That's in this budget. Board of Elections went up significantly. That's because we're going to have 3 elections in the coming year. We didn't have any elections in the past year. Finance administration stayed the same. Law stayed the same. Data processing went up primarily because of computer replacement in the probate office and magistrate's office. Got to replace those computers. So that's where the increase in that budget came from. Tax commissioners was the same. Basically, it's $36 more than it was last year. And by the way, these department heads and these elected officials turned in this budget themselves. I know that didn't make the first cut in none of these budgets. Okay, I put it in their hands. I said, you tell us the easiest way to do it. They turned their budgets in, and most of them was at or below what they asked for last year. So the tax assessors was up 0.3%. Risk management went up, and that's because our insurance rate went up. Our liability insurance and building on insurance on the buildings. General government buildings came down. We put a roof on last year. We're not putting on this year, I hope. So that's a $50,000 reduction. General administration fees stayed the same. Superior Court went up $10,000 because they're having more weeks of court, and bailiffs' salaries went up in that. The clerk of courts was actually went down $800 from last year's. District attorney stayed the same. Magistrate court went up slightly. That was insurance and COLA. Probate court came down slightly. That's things we didn't buy last year. Don't have to buy this year that we had to buy last year. Juvenile court stayed the same. Grand jury stayed the same. Law library stayed the same. Public defender went up 3.7%. Y'all approved that back in June, I think. Board of Legalization went down. That was Frankie's request. It went down $2,300 from last year. The sheriff went up 4.9%, and that's mostly insurance. The department with the largest amount of employees got a bigger hit on the insurance than anybody else. So that's probably the why that one went up that amount of money. Jail operations came down. We backed off on the amount of money we was budgeting for housing prisoners. I hope we didn't burn ourselves, but we did. We had a trend of it going back down, so we went with that trend. Adult corrections, that looks like it went up humongous, but I just moved that $3,600 out from under the roads where I had it at and put it under them. We'll pay them straight out of that account. The number didn't change from last year. It's just moved into a different place. EMS was down slightly. The coroner went up some. That's just because the number of cases averaged out going up. 911, which is Paul, the address and office, that was mainly COLA and insurance. GIS, that remained the same. That's a part-time employee in a part-time position, so that didn't change. Animal control went up slightly. That was from COLA and insurance. Emergency management went up by $800. That was COLA and insurance. Public works stayed the same. Road department went up, and that's primarily insurance and COLA. Maintenance shop came down slightly. Health department remained the same. DFACs remained the same. The senior center, that's not correct. Theirs actually stayed the same. It didn't drop $7,500. I don't know why that's in there. We'll go over the other budget to see, but that's not correct. Transit went up because we're having more riders. Recreation went up 0.5%. The library administration, that's not correct. I done copied something wrong. Library stayed the same as last year. 4-H stayed the same. Economic development dropped to 150,000. It was moved down to the other one, you see at the bottom, the 9,000 other finance and stuff. Most of that money went to there. We've had to change the way we account for the money we're pulling out of Splosh and running through. So that's where that change came in at. The rest of the airport authority stayed the same. Community action stayed the same. Adult literacy stayed the same. And the other financing went up from the money that was taken away from economic development.
Okay. That number's not right at the bottom, is it? That 113,833?
Correct. That number's about right. We'll go over and get the other budget in there. Get this to move this way up. This is revenue. You'll see let me back to the taxes, that's the main thing. You'll see there the digest grew enough in new growth to increase the revenue from the property taxes by $167, I believe it was, $166,000. That's for the new growth after taking the rollback. The rest of the revenue stayed pretty much the same, up and down just a little bit, depending on how it was going for the year's average. Why my machine not work? And again, you'll see there's very little changes in the revenue up and down over the whole revenue scheme. If anything y'all see catches your eye and you want to go back and look at it, we'll be glad to do it.